dive right into it. Tonight, I want to talk about my story and what is happening in corporate America that I think a lot of you are probably suffering from as well, and 5 things I did to regain my happiness. So, getting right into it. The first thing is, let's set the stage. I've been laid off in back-to-back layoffs. And so, on its face, that's very upsetting. But the first thing that I did to regain my happiness and make my way through it is to realize I stopped blaming myself. First layoff is very shocking. It's very upsetting. You tend to blame yourself. Maybe it was imposter syndrome. Maybe I didn't do a good enough job. Did I work hard enough? Why was I one of them? Then it happened again. And what that did is make me realize that, first of all, Monica, you're part of a mass layoff. It was really essentially corporate America changing directions. It's sort of the new face of corporate America. So one of the ways in which I was able to and have been able to regain my happiness and keep my positivity through all of this mass epidemic of corporate burnout that's happening for us Gen Xers mainly, is to realize that, you know what? It wasn't me. It's not me. I'm simply part of the new face of corporate America. Senior leadership has changed direction, and I'm collateral damage. It doesn't mean that I'm not of value. It doesn't mean that I didn't do a good job. It just simply means that the company took another direction, and, the relationship ends here. And I realize in all of this that many times, and many of us will experience this, that when we leave a job, most of the time, it's probably not on our terms. The job's going to end in one of 2 ways. Either you're going to leave, or the company's going to ask you to leave or give you an exit package or whatever it might be. And you know what? That's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not a good employee. It's just kind of the rules of the game. It's just the first change when you accept that, unfortunately, corporate careers are very short-lived, especially if you're in tech and you're in sales like I've been. Next, I just want to let you know that after these layoffs and all these things that have happened, I've been somebody who was out of work for really long stretches, and happened more than once. But when I look back on it, I realize, you know what? I'm not dead. I lived through this storm, and everything's okay. So I made it through. My bills are paid. I'm still getting interviews. And I think the headline here with the second thing that I realized to regain my happiness and be able to accept what's happening and not fall apart, which I didn't, but it can be very shocking for a lot of people, is, you know what? I'm going to survive. I did survive, and you will survive too. I think that's very important that you grasp that. It's a storm, and you're going to be okay. Maybe a little bit painful, it may be a little bit turbulent, but I made it through the storm. Another way in which I've been able to regain my happiness is that I sort of just kind of started to detach from corporate America. The relationship is what it is, and in some ways, and the headlines are, in a very simple and easy way to say this, is I stopped caring as much as I used to care. So I used to be, the person that would, hey, you want me to work late, or respond to a text at 10 o'clock at night, be available at any time, volunteer for anything, and really throw myself and my commitment to my job. But when you go through 2 layoffs in a row and you understand that it's a systemic thing, that, corporate America is changing, I gave myself permission to just say, I'm going to show up. I'm going to give an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. But no longer will I let my mental health, my physical health, or anything like that, be put at jeopardy for a job, because they're not going to do it for me. So many of you, if you followed my channel, you know that I have had a heart attack, and that was, a lot of it was work related. Just from being, working hard and things like that, and traveling a lot. But I realized, there are boundaries and there are limits. And I'm a great employee and I enjoy my job, but I also have set boundaries. And it's freeing. It's really great to know that, it's okay. You don't have to, blood, sweat, and tears for a company that's not going to give you blood, sweat, and tears or have any loyalty to you if they felt that it was better for them and in their interest to get rid of you. So that's something that I think is very freeing. And if another opportunity came along that was better for me, then I would take that opportunity and not feel bad about it. And I think that's okay. And I think that if many of you are out there and suffering from corporate burnout and worried, you know what? My advice is do what I did. Just, you know what? Don't worry about it so much. It's really not in your control anyway. And have boundaries and live your life and do a good job and do those things for your company, but don't go overboard to where you're sick and you're stressed and you can't sleep. It's not worth it. And so it's very freeing if you give yourself that permission. So that's the third thing to do. And the fourth thing that I'd like to share is because, you know what, I started to see and started to build a bridge of my life after or outside of corporate America, the 9 to 5. I've started to build something for myself. I've started to take back control. So I think that that is something that really has been, you know, very, very beneficial for me to understand that I'm now building something and I can see a vision because there's no corporate security anyway. They can get rid of you at a drop of a hat anyway. So what can I build for myself? Everybody that I know who is really, truly wealthy have always worked for themselves. And I see that now so much more clearly than I ever have. And because I've made it through the storm and because I've been through 2 or 3 layoffs or 2 layoffs in a row, and I'm no longer afraid. And I realize that that's very possible that it can happen. You move to acceptance, and that can very well happen again. I heard some say it be said somewhere that typical life cycle these days, at least if you're in tech, in corporate America and in sales for sure, used to be like 3 years on average, and now it's cycling to about 18 to 24 months. So realizing that and understanding that you always have to be thinking downfield and pulling together a strategy for what's next. This is only temporary. It's going to give you the control back. It helped me to give the control back and reassurance that start building things for myself, which is what I'm doing. Part of it is through the YouTube channel, but there's other things that, you know, I'm building in a new pathways. And once you start to do that, that's the other thing that I think is really great, is you'll start to see things open up that you never saw before. If you give yourself permission to say, hey, this is okay, this is temporary, this is for today, I'm grateful that I have it, I'm going to do a good job, the best job I can. And I'm not saying to slack off in any way, shape, or form, but start to protect yourself. And just like you diversify your portfolio, where maybe you have a home and you have savings and you have stocks and you have bonds and crypto and all these different things, you got to do that with your career too. And the last thing is that I've done, and I would encourage everybody to think about doing it too, is I started to look at, you know, as I mentioned, new pathways open up, but the new pathways that open up, also new mentors and new teachers. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, they start to show up. So I've been able to have a little bit of financial options because of my financial situation, and I have some options. And now that I see the road forward, I'm starting to invest in more coaching and capital to start building that bridge. And that's also another very freeing thing. So that's really all it is for tonight. I've done some other videos on the state of corporate America, and I hope this is helpful to everybody, but I really kind of wanted to just not really necessarily teach anything tonight. I wanted to make this a little bit more personal and more authentic, and just to tell you what's been going on in my life and how I'm evolving to life after layoff, life after corporate America, and to see, you know, things for what they are. Everything in life is truly temporary. We're all living on borrowed time to, you know, many of us are living on borrowed time. You know, our lives are given to us. If you have a faith, you know what I'm talking about. God gave us life. he could take it at any time, and no one knows the hour. But I think if you make those 5 shifts, again, it's to realize, you know what, it's not because you didn't do a good job. That's the first thing. You were part of a mass layoff. It's not a reflection on you. It's a reflection of the way corporate America is going. It's just simply the way it is. Accept that. The second thing is to understand that, you know what, you're going to live through this storm. You've survived. You're not dead. You're hopefully still in your home. So that's the second thing. The third thing is to, give yourself permission to corporate America. Your job is not your identity. They don't owe you a guarantee of an income, and nor do you owe them. So that's power too. You have choices. I have choices. And you know what? Stop putting your health and your mental health and your physical health at jeopardy. Give yourself permission to not care. And I mean that loosely, not care. And the fourth thing is build that bridge. Where are you going next? What can you do for you? How do you invest in yourself? Build something for yourself so that if corporate America goes away, you're not, the bottom doesn't fall out. And then the fifth thing is recognize when teachers and opportunities appear, and don't be afraid to have skin in the game. Write a check for something because it's an investment. It's ROI. So if you like this video, like and subscribe, and tell me, do you want to hear more about this? Share your story. I'd love to hear what's going on for everybody else out there. And but this is really just, just to share and build a community and help each other. Thanks.